Hey, dude,
Please, don't even talk to me until I have my coffee.
Building positive vibes, people. Let's go.
I've been waiting on the sunset, bills on my mindset. I can't deny it.
Welcome to the Coffee Break Podcast.
You having a stressful day and need a few laughs? Come to the right place. Myself, Lyrickin, Jimmy Jam, my fathers formerly in the music industry, who have a lot to say. So sit back, sip your cup of coffee, and welcome to the shenanigans.
Coffee Break Podcast.
We are here, ladies and gentlemen.
We are here. That. I love that song, Andy Grammer.
Let it vibe out. Let it vibe out.
I love it.
If you are having a bad day, that right there should get you in a great mood.
You got to keep your head up at all times.
Man, that is a very, very, very big statement right there.
It is.
Especially after we're officially out of a pandemic.
Out of it completely.
We have survived Independence Day.
Yes, we have.
Isn't that crazy? Pandemic was officially quote unquote done, and then we celebrated our independence.
It's about time.
It's about time. We celebrated a little America. Ate a little food. I ate a lot of food.
I always eat a lot of food.
And I had a wedding that I had to go to, and then 4th of July. We had the 4th of July-ness.
We had our good times down at the campground like we always do, and
hopefully no snakes this time.
No snakes, but I did forget to tell you something that happened like a week ago. So Ron and Betsy took us out on their boat, which is a pontoon boat.
Okay.
It's flat bottom, and then we had a great day. We all went out. We went to this place called Paradise Grill, and we had a great day on the boat. It was a great day on the bay, and then Christy started getting the fever.
Ooh.
So she's like, maybe we should get a boat. And right away, my ears go, I'm like, oh, okay, I want a boat. So Wayne and Steph said, hey, why don't you come out on our boat? And Wayne has like a center console, brand new. It's gorgeous. So is Ron and Betsy's boat. I love their boat too. But his is a little lower to get into.
Okay.
It sits down. So I am on the dock and Wayne says, hey, I'm going to pull up there to get some gas. Probably be easier since it was low tide. It was, So everybody, Bill's there and he's helping all the ladies in. And they all get in the boat. Tess and Stephanie and Christy, they're all in the boat. And Wayne's at his captain's seat and Bill's helping everybody in. And Bill's like, Jim can get in fine. So, of course, somebody has to be the butthead of the day.
We all know who.
The comic relief guy.
Wah, wah. What you do?
I slipped and fell. Turned my ankle over. And it hurt. But I sucked it up and I didn't want to ruin the day for anybody. We went out and they showed us a great time on their boat. It was really nice of them. And we cruised the whole bay up and down. We went out into the ocean, came back in, and my ankle's swollen up. And I'm like, just give me an adult beverage. I'll be okay. And so Christy and I get back and we get up to the dock and everybody gets out. And I look at Christy and I'm like, I think I need a wrap. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, get me to Walgreens. So we go to Walgreens and we get a wrap, we get ice packs, all this stuff. And the lady looks and goes, how's your day going? And then she looks at the stuff. She's like, oh, one of you is not having a good day. And I was like, yeah, no, we're not. So we get back and I bandage it up really good. And I go out and I'm fine. I'm walking on it, having a great time. A couple more adult beverages and some ibuprofen, and it was fine. So I go to bed, wake up. Christy stayed behind that night, and wake up at like 4 a.m. And it's like throbbing. So I was like, oh, this isn't good. Because I've broken my other ankle several times.
Yeah.
And I wake Christy up. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to the emergency room. She's like, what? I was like, it's 4.5 miles away. I'm going to go to the emergency room. She goes, you're not driving to the emergency room. She's like, I'm not going to leave you behind, or I'm not going to stay behind while you drive yourself to the emergency room. She's like, no, you're out of your mind. She's like, hold on, we'll go. And she goes, let me see your ankle. And she's like, okay, yeah, we'll go. So we go. And such great service. It was really nice. I was in and out in an hour, and they took 3 x-rays. They actually didn't wheel me anywhere. They came right in with the x-ray machine. Doctor comes back, goes, "You're fine." I said, "What?" Because Christy's face when she saw the x-ray, I thought it was broke. And doctor said, "You're fine." He goes, "Maybe a ligament, injury, but and a bad sprain, but you'll be fine." So, here's the moral of the story is,
don't let Jimmy on your boat.
well, no, that's true. But Jimmy wants a boat. Jimmy went out on a boat. Jimmy fell on a boat. Jimmy still doesn't have a boat.
Every time I think of boats, I think of Step Brothers.
Oh my gosh.
The Pinta, the Santa Maria. Boats and hoes.
Boats and hoes.
The funny thing is, I actually have a funny Walgreens story for you.
All right, let's hear it.
So, I think we didn't graduate yet. It was 2002, and a bunch of my friends were like, "Let's just try to freak out the lady at Walgreens. Just see if you can buy the most randomest things together, and see who freaks out the lady." So one friend goes in by himself. He buys a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, we can top this. Now everybody's trying to do their things. They're buying, like, I think the one guy bought a big tub of oil, box of condoms, and tacks and stuff like that. So I went in. We topped it at like $30. We can spend anything above $30. So I went in. I go to the tool section. I buy plastic bags, duct tape, KY jelly, and I got the little thing for the Plan B. Jeez. And I got up to the register. I'm like, "Can I get a box of condoms just in case, And the lady starts scanning my stuff, and the more and more she's scanning it, you can see the horror in her eyes.
The more uncomfortable she's becoming. That's awesome.
And it was an older lady, and then we were dying so much that we ended up coming back in, and we told her what we did just to see. And she goes, "Yeah, you're the one that's freaked me out the most."
Did you get her number then too?
No. It was one of those stupid things that we did just to get a laugh out of. But
the stupid stuff you do when you're a teenager.
The horror in her eye.
That's the stuff, as you grow older, the stuff that you do, when you're a kid, the dares to do something, do this, do that, it can definitely throw you for a loop.
I remember somebody dared me and a bunch of friends to steal chickens from a farm.
How'd
that didn't go out very well.
That didn't work out for you, did it?
We drove up to the side of the road. We had a cage. We're walking along. And at that point, nobody ever told us there's an electric fence.
Oh.
Right? So, we had, 2 of us had crowbars just in case we had to open up something. My friend goes like this. He goes, "Wait, there's something in the way." I start screaming, and we just start hauling ass. The guy's there shaking on the thing. And he has the cage in one hand and the crowbar in the other. And we're just hauling down the road till one of us turns around and is like, "All right, nobody's coming." And he's still over there shaking.
Oh, that's like we dared my cousin Jason when we were kids. My uncle had property down in Quarryville, and he had a big property, and it had a man-made lake on it, and we used to get down there for 4th of July, speaking of which, and he had an electric fence around the whole property, and my cousin Jason was standing there, and we said, "Dare you to pee on it."
Don't piss on the electric fence.
Not a good thing to do. Not a good thing.
Random Stimpy.
But so it's stuff you do for kids, or as kids I should say, and that leads us to some topics tonight.
Yeah. So
this was actually given to us by a listener.
Well, listener down at the campground, right?
Yeah, it was actually Shelly.
All right, so before we go to the topics, why don't you bring back the name the mermaid?
We still are waiting for a name. We don't have a name. You need to give us a name. If you could, just send it in. Again, it's for Wayne and Stephanie's Mermaid. It's down the wee hill to the right. And we showed you a picture last time.
It's up on the screen now.
And you can look at it again and send us a name.
It is gorgeous, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
I bet you wish you had that hair, though.
I do. I'm trying to grow it out a little bit. But as you get older, it's, doesn't grow as much as you want it to.
I want to see you with a full-fledged beard.
It'll never happen. I told you before I look like Patchy Teen Wolf. So Shelly wants to talk about preparing your kids for life in college.
Oh.
Now, I'm a little bit past that stage because Jimmy's 21 and he's in his fourth semester or fifth semester now. And so...
Yeah, my boys are on the way.
Yeah.
They're there, 15 and 16, so...
And you have your daughters that you're preparing.
Oh, there.
So let's talk about preparing children for life. What do you do? Like, how do you... I don't think you can ever prepare them fully for what they're going to have to deal with.
I think, especially preparing them for, like, life on their own in college and stuff like that, it all goes back to year one and what you did from year 1 to year 18. All the morals you taught them, all the responsibilities you gave them growing up, all the lessons you've taught them on the way will help them get into that position, I think.
Yeah, and I think you have to do that. Like, the molding that you do along the way is going to set them on the path that they're ready for life. And they're going to have to make decisions on their own. We all did. You can be there to pick them up, but not as much as you did when they were little. And that's the thing, they're going to fall down when they're away in life and in college, and you're not going to be there to pick up the pieces. Hopefully they pick up the phone at least and call you to talk to you about it.
That's one thing I highly stress with my boys. Communication.
Yeah.
My son is 16 and the other one's 15. My 16-year-old just got his permit. We're going through that whole phase.
And you worry more as they get older.
Yeah. But it's always, boy, you can talk to me about anything.
Yeah.
If not me, you have a stepmother over here that wants to talk to you. Mom has a husband you could talk to.
Yeah.
You have 4 adults. If not, my uncle is right there too. So you have 5 adults you can conversate with. So there's no excuse for you not to have insight, at least, especially at the ages of 18, 19, 20, and 21, where you're still making dumb young mistakes.
And that's the thing, you set them out, like, even just going to college. Not just going to college, but even when you start them on the path for college, it's like all of a sudden they have all this freedom that they didn't have before in some cases. And it's like kids going wild. They don't know how to handle that. And a lot of kids have a hard time dealing with the fact that you have responsibilities now that you didn't have before, and how do you mold them to that? And if anybody can give us advice, we're still in the very infancy stages as well of life when it comes to our children. And even though Jimmy's 21 or going to be 21, and I still every day it's a learning experience being a parent to him. And with JC and Bennett and Kayla's even in her mid-20s, and I still can't always give the best advice.
See, but the best thing in the world, 2 things. One, our children have other people besides us. Like, little Jimmy can call me if he needed me. And I'd be there in a heartbeat.
And same with your children. With
I mean? And they have Papa Jimmy.
Yeah.
I mean? They have, my kids have Tara. They have their mother. They have my uncle. And they have other people they could talk to if they don't feel comfortable talking to mom and dad.
Yeah, and
that's the one key.
Jimmy does. He goes to Christy a lot. Like when he has something that he doesn't want to tell me, he'll go to Christy. He also goes to his stepfather, Alan. He does, if he does not want to tell his mother and I something, he will go to the step parent and talk it first.
Yeah. And number two, I mean, I'm 36. I still talk to my uncle when I need advice.
Oh yeah,
at this day now. I mean, we talk to each other how much about figuring things out in life. It's a never-ending process, but the process is different the older you get.
It is. And the older you get, the more, like I said, you worry because you don't have that. It's 8:30, 9 o'clock, time for bed. You know they're up, tucked away, in bed, sleeping sound asleep, and you can go up and you can check in on them. Not when they're 20, not when they're 21, not when they're 19, not when they're at college. You cannot check in on them. You worry about them, and you worry until you get that phone call. You worry until, you get that text saying, hey, I'm home safe. I want to just tell you good night. You worry about that.
Yeah. I mean, like, it all goes down to communication. As long as they know they have someone to talk to. That was my problem growing up a lot. I didn't have somebody to speak to about certain things growing up. Because at that point, me and my real father were going through what we were going through. My mother was just figuring out her life outside of my stepfather. So I didn't have much to speak to until I met you and a couple other friends that I have. So that's why I stress that a lot when it comes to my kids. Like, I'm here.
Yeah. And I think that's what you need to do. You need to let them know that you're here.
And I think just knowing the fact that they have someone that has their back is the first key in them being comfortable with being that next journey in life. That's 21, 22. Like, if me and my older brother aren't on the best terms now, but if it wasn't for my older brother, I wouldn't have learned how to drink in public.
Yeah.
That's a big key to learn. I've learned how to drink, how much to drink, and how to react if I'm a little too saucy.
Yeah.
You need those things in life so you don't make stupid mistakes in life.
I think it's like you said, the communication, just letting them know that you're there. And people talk about cutting the ties, cutting the strings. I
think that when it comes to your kids, it means differently than when you talk about like a friend of yours.
Yeah.
Like when I cut ties with my son, I'm not catching him out of the nest with the baby bird syndrome. I'm cutting the ties where now you're going to have to fail and learn how to get out of it.
Yeah.
I will be here to navigate you, like, hey, maybe you should try this, or maybe you should not do that, or try this, or save this. That's the cutting ties.
It's not so
cutting the umbilical cord.
Yeah, it's not so much cutting ties, but cutting the strings, the aprons. You hear apron strings, you hear different terms to say. But I think the bottom line is that you never really cut anything with your children. You just mold it into a different way.
Yeah.
You convert, and I'm going through this with Jimmy more than anything right now, and it's converting from that child to that adult.
Jimmy's going through the change. No, I mean, I'm doing the same. I'm pretty much at the beginning of that process with my sons. So I'm going to be doing it back to back. Both of my sons are very intelligent. They are two different beings. My older son is more quote unquote street savvy. He is about mid-level in education. He's a B and C student.
Okay.
He's magnificent at sports. But he's more of the street savvy. My youngest is book smart to like super degrees. Like he's gonna be the college guy. My oldest son is probably gonna be the more tech guy, like a tech institute where you learn how to, network computers or build refrigerators and stuff like that. Like he's going to be a mechanic type person. My other son is probably going to be, he would be the one that want to be a doctor or a dentist or that type of smarts. And then even that way, like even with your kids, Jimmy, you can teach a certain way versus the other two, your two stepkids. You teach them their separate, separately things.
Yeah, I mean, with JC and Bennett, you know, I've always told them, you know, I'm not your father, but I am here to always pick you up when you're down, be there, have your back. You know, no matter what, you can always come to me. And I think that's all you need to do is instill that knowledge, whether they're your children or not your children, if you're part of their lives, that they know that they can come to you at any time, no matter the time. And, you know, that's one thing I've instilled in Jimmy. I don't care the time. I don't care the place. I don't care what you need as long as you call me when you need it.
Just little Jimmy, don't call him at 4:00 in the morning asking what will go blend really good with Britney Spears. That's a different conversation.
Yeah, don't call me from a house party wanting to know what to mix next. But you know, all kidding aside, I think, you know, there is a conversion from a child to an adult in parenting, and it's finding not only the groove with them, but in yourself.
Agree.
I think you have to find that as a parent. You have to know when to step back and when to step in.
And like I said, it comes from the tree. Your pops, handed you a certain way. You personally learn ways that you learn and ways you didn't learn. So now your little youngin, you'll try things a little differently, but it still comes from a core.
It comes from that core knowledge that you were given as a child through your parents. And, you know, while, you know, my dad says this, as I said before in a previous episode, he always tells me, don't be me, be yourself. And that's hard to do because a lot of myself is instilled in me because of him.
Your dad could have a calendar, like, you know how you can rip the pages? He can have a calendar of like sayings.
Yeah.
You know what, Papa Jimmy? We're going to get that put together. You need to give me 365 little positive quotes, and we're going to put a little calendar together because he comes up with some stuff sometimes.
He will do it too.
He's definitely...
No, but, you know, and that is the thing. You do learn from your parents, and your children will learn from you, and that's how they're going to mold their way in life, and they're going to find their way in life, but you're going to lay that course. And you're going to give them the path in life. Now, where they go with that path on their own, that's up to them. They're going to find their way. Mm-hmm. You can be there to guide them. And they may fall off the path. And they probably
will a few times. They're young, you know.
But they're going to have to find their way back on. Mm-hmm. And you can be there to be that phone call.
At that point, I'm Mufasa. I'm just going to give you the advice. You got to do your own stuff, Simba.
Yeah. And you really do.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that, you know, in life that you have to step away from. And
negativity is one of them.
That leads us to our next topic.
We go through this, and I've had this conversation with my wife a lot about certain people in life, whether it's friends. I mean, there's even certain family members that I put in this list. There's certain people that I've done business with.
Yeah.
That I put in this list where it may not just be the right environment to have that person in.
I think as you grow up, and sometimes you grow away from people.
I think values change when you grow up.
Yeah, it does.
You see things differently.
And you know, there's certain things in your life that can be a negative influence at that time that you don't realize it, that you have to step away from the negativity. And now there you can cut the ties.
I've cut ties with a lot of people that I never thought I would cut ties with. And that's crazy.
And you know, like there's people, we talked about this the other couple weeks ago in an episode where you said, you know, about going back in time and where would you go if you could go back for 1 week and hop in the hot tub time machine. And, you know, I said about going back to my last week of high school. But there's a lot of people in high school that I was friends with that I do not associate with any longer.
There's a lot of people from high school that you're just Facebook friends with.
And
it's crazy.
And there's some people in high school that I wasn't friends with in high school
that I'm friends with
that are my best friends now.
I agree.
You know, Rob, him and I went through all of high school. And, we were acquaintances, but we weren't, we were friends, but not friends. And he was not someone I hung out with until after high school. And he ended up being, in my wedding when I got married. He's the godfather of my son. And he's someone, Edge was a couple years behind me in school. Never, we knew each other all throughout life, through high school, growing up. I know he went to college. I knew he was DJing. It wasn't until, some things happened in life that he and I became friends. And that's, and now he stood for Jimmy at his confirmation.
Ed is a good guy.
And now he's molding my son into being an entertainer. And I thank him for that.
I think no matter if you cut the ties with them or not, each person was in there to teach you something that either made you better or taught you something important.
Everybody that comes in your life does that, I think.
Yeah. So, for instance, there's people that I used to do business with. I don't do business with them now because even though they did business with me properly, because they know who I am, their business with other people wasn't that legit.
Yeah.
And being associated with them
can give you a bad name.
Almost gave me a bad name to the point where I had to slide. I had to give that account to somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want it to be associated with it anymore. And there's a few people like that I've done that with. Even in the music business.
Yeah.
At one point you go meet this person, start catching a vibe with this person, and it just doesn't work out at the end because it doesn't mesh very well.
And I told Jimmy that when he started DJing, he said about being here, being there, and I told him, hey, clubs are great. They give you a name, and they give you a name. They don't always pay the best, but they give you a name. And weddings is where you want to be, but he's 20, 21. He wants to be in that scene.
Yeah.
And I told him, while it does give you a name, it can also give you a reputation.
Yeah.
So make sure you choose the right venue to be in, because that venue can ruin you or make you.
Unless if it's a really poppin' spot that you can get into, which we really don't have any in Lancaster, but
there's a couple.
Unless if it's like a big name, like a big name club that you could DJ at. I always took clubs when I DJ'd, and especially when I helped out DJ with you and Raw. Those club nights were practice for learning how to blend, learning to see what people dance to. So then when you did that wedding,
yeah,
or when you did that prom, or the homecoming, or the private venue, you already had the kinks worked out in your mixes.
Yeah, and that's the very cool thing about Edge. He can be at a wedding for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And he'll finish the wedding, he'll tear down, and he'll go do a club till 2 o'clock in the morning.
I don't know how he does it.
He's a machine. But the bottom line is he can turn it off and turn it on and turn it on and turn it off. And he can do it. He can flow with the mix. Like, he can be here doing this and then change environment and be here doing this. And it's all about, no matter where he is, the crowd's dancing.
That's the one cool thing about where we live at. We have amazing entertainment when it comes to certain DJs. You were one of the best entertainments at a wedding.
Thank you.
That I've known. Edge, not many people can touch Edge when it comes to mixing and doing a live show.
Oh no.
DJ Image.
Oh, he's a beast.
If he would go into the battle ring with somebody, he would destroy. I remember watching this guy battle, scratch. What is he doing?
Yeah, Vinny's a beast.
I watched him when the Chameleon was the Chameleon, and they had the thing downstairs that he built, the whole downstairs lizard lounge that he built, and then they gave it to somebody else and they ruined it.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
That's why they're shut down. Anyways, I watched the guy mix 2 turntables, and in the middle of the mix, took a shot, and then went right back into the mix.
Oh yeah.
Like it never was like it was a part of his. I'm like, what are you doing? And mind you, not many people know this. I used to rap with him.
Oh really?
When he made beats, he had a production company called Eye for an Eye. That's what it was called, Eye for an Eye. It was him, Nate Skills, and another MC, Israel.
Okay.
He made some ill beats. You want to talk about like old boom bap hip hop beats? I don't care who you are, nobody can really touch Image and boom bap.
He is amazing at what he does, and that comes back to another thing I want to talk about tonight.
Let's go.
Value at your job.
Now, are you talking about value?
I think being valued in general, and what you bring to the table. Is it valued? And there's people that bring a lot of value to what they do, and when you stop doing it, sometimes you're forgotten about. And the thing is, they'll post your job. If something happens to you and you pass away, your job will be posted before your obituary.
That is true. That's the one thing. My actual job now, there's value in my job that I do every day because I learn so much about building things and stuff like that, working at a buildings material. But my job sees the value in me. And
that's what's important. Do you like getting out of what you're giving? Do you get back what you give?
Oh, 100%. My owner is the dopest owner of any job that I've ever had. I call him Pops, or I call him Jefe, which we all know is in fact.
Yes, Scott.
Jeez, Scott. Anyways, but it's a family-owned business, and every single one of the members in the family is awesome. They're dope. They're very different from each other, but they all see the value in me. They ask me for advice. Hey, what do you think? What do you think we should do with this? I'll give my opinion. All right, well, let's try that out. See how it works.
Yeah.
And if I have an issue, I go to them, and they're helping me out.
Yeah. And it's the same way with my job. I mean, I went from, a different type of environment to where I'm at now. And, I got very lucky with the manager I have. I'm going to tell you something. When they hired me, I took a 2 weeks vacation in between, because my other job said, well, you're done. You're giving your 2 weeks notice. We don't need you. I was like, well, I gave my 2 weeks notice, so you're still paying me. And they did. And I couldn't start my other job until X day. And Jimmy actually had a tournament when he was bowling for the high school that he went to. They were state champions, and they went to nationals.
Nice.
And they went to Illinois, and we went out there for the event. And the boss I have now called me on my vacation and said, hey, Jim, this is so-and-so. We're just here. I'm just touching base with you. I know you're starting in a few weeks. I just want to see, I knew you were taking vacation and your son was in something for sports. And I just want to call you and see how that's going or how it went.
Wow.
And I was like, what? You remembered that? So the value that I got from that first, not even day on the job, and the way the company is, it's a family environment, and that's where I think that's important. And getting back what you give.
That's cool. Like my supervisor at my job, me and him get along very well. We're both comic heads. We both view things very similar. When it comes to managing a warehouse, he's magnificent at it. I'm very good at it. I'm more of a salesman. I'm more of the personable guy. He isn't. So we really work together very well.
Play off each other very well.
He's very smart. But if I have off, he calls and checks in on me.
That's nice.
And I check in on him when he's by himself. Hey, what happened today?
Yeah.
What happened to this? And we'll sit there and talk with each other. Like, he has off Monday and Tuesday. I had off all week. So I talked to him on Friday. I talked to him Thursday. I talked to him Friday. And I talked to him before I came here. Hey, what do you think we should do this week and getting things ready for, like, because we're getting ready to go into super peak.
Yeah, this is getting to be your busy season.
Yeah, because we've been busy since May. But July is our really, 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 really hot season.
Yeah, literally.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a heat wave this week. But
yeah.
But it's going to be, and he's like, yeah, I got this, and this done. Can you get this, and this done? I'm like, all right, cool. I'll get it done. And then I'll do this to complement this, and that'll set us up for the future.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
That's great. And that's, at the end of the day, when you lay your head down on that pillow and you look at yourself and you say, did I make a difference? And that's something I do. Did I make a difference today in somebody's life? Whether that be your spouse, your partner, your children, a friend, a coworker, a customer. Did you make a difference in somebody's life? And if you can do that, yeah, I think it's a good day. And that's kind of like, from the very get-go of this episode, you got to keep your head up.
You got to keep your head up.
Oh.
And we're not singers, though.
No, we're not. But, it's just, it's very important that you do keep your head up in life. And
yes.
No matter what, you keep pushing through. And if we can ask any of our listeners to do anything, it's push through. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, no matter where you're at in life, and you will come out on top. You just got to put the work in, and you got to keep your head up.
Can I quote Batman?
Yeah, go ahead, you comic head.
It's always darkest before the dawn. That is a horrible Batman voice.
Yeah.
But oh man. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
episode 25. Wow. Quarter of the way there, man.
Quarter of the way. Damn. Just think about it. We started this not too long ago, and
episode 25.
We're gonna do something big for 100. We're gonna do something.
We got to give away something.
Giveaway. We may have little Jimmy on.
Yeah.
Papa Jimmy on.
Papa Jimmy. And the funny thing is, I had my T-shirt on down at the campground.
Yeah.
It said the coffee break, And the guys even said, look, they even got their own T-shirts. So maybe we'll give away a T-shirt. Who knows?
Yeah, we may. We got. I'm working. We're working on. We're actually right now. I'm in the process of finishing up merchandising deal. It will be a online shop that we will be having very shortly. We should have that up in the next month. We also have another coffee and comics or coffee and questions coming up.
Yeah, you and that coffee and comics, you keep.
Yeah,
it's coffee and questions. We're gonna
too many C's.
We're gonna be doing that here in beginning of August, I think.
I believe it is. Yes. Yeah. And then I have a few more coffee and questions coming up with a bunch of entertainers, some businessmen that we have in the works. We have some big bright futures coming up.
Because you know why? Because we got to keep our head up.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say because we're over caffeinated.
Oh, well, we are over caffeinated, but you know what they say. Well, you take that one.
Why are you taking my lines?
I'm not. I screwed that up there.
Oh, man.
Slap me.
Where's the snake at?
Yeah, don't bring a snake around.
Oh, well, since you ruined it, stay caffeinated.
Stay classy, and thanks for listening.
That's what they say in the old country. I want to thank everybody for listening to another episode of the Coffee Break Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to us on your favorite podcast streaming service. And of course, follow us on all social media platforms and like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in to the shenanigans.
Thanks for tuning in to the Coffee Break Podcast.
That was beautiful.
That was great.